Hey, this is Antonio. Welcome back to my channel. It's time for some fighting words. So in this video, I want to speak about the press conference between Tyson Fury and Dillian Whyte. There wasn't a whole lot to it. It's a classical Tyson Fury press conference where he does a lot of talking and he pretty much entertains the crowd. But, I think over the years, he's pretty much done his antics. And if what he's been saying as of lately, this being his last, fight, I don't think there's much else for him to say in terms of a press conference. I think the last thing that he could actually say, and it would be the period to the end of the book, would be a stellar performance. In which case, both guys were very, respectable and, professional. Dillian Whyte was late, but it's Dillian Whyte. What are you going to do? They ought to just be happy that dude showed up. He was also very respectable, very soft-spoken, very stoic. Dillian Whyte. And, the one thing that I gathered from this press conference was just the amount of respect. Now, I already knew that they had history. And I've said in previous videos, these two knew each other when Tyson had hair and both of them had abs. So they've known each other a very long time. We're talking like 2010, they've known each other for a very long time. Well, that was sparring. They probably even knew each other before that. But, very respectable press conference. They had a few laughing moments where, both sides, smiled. And like I said, it was cordial. We do know that battle was coming. And, there's no sense in getting all hyped up and everything now because battle is coming and it's only a few days away. So there was not a whole lot to take from this. I've been thinking about this and I'm like, Dillian Whyte not showing up. Dillian Whyte is typically very, very verbal and outspoken. However, in regards to this press conference, we haven't seen nor heard much from Dillian Whyte. But now I believe it makes more sense to me that we haven't seen nor heard from Dillian Whyte because they do know each other. And I think Tyson could bring up memories and where they would have to mutually laugh in the same setting or something like that. And I think Dillian Whyte's one of those type of guys who needs to be mentally in battle mode. I don't feel like Tyson Fury needs to be in battle mode to go into battle. I don't think he's one of those guys. I don't think he his mind goes to a certain place to go into battle. I don't believe he's one of those guys. I just think he shows up. And, but I believe Dillian Whyte, there is like a switch. Something happens within him, within his mindset, that it's battle time and it's go time. And I feel like had he been to the other press conferences, I'm not saying it would have made him like weaker or softer or more manageable, but I think the thought that I do have history with this guy and now I'm going to fight this guy could get to you. And I'm not saying they're friends, but I am saying they are cordial and they definitely have history. And they have positive history. It's not negative history. They have positive history. So I think it was actually a smart thing that Dillian Whyte never showed up to those other press conferences. And even the fact that he showed up late, today, maybe it was a smart idea. He got there just in time as things were already, started and progressed. One of the things I noticed, but I've forgotten about is how big Tyson Fury is. That dude is a mammoth. He's a freaking mountain. Like, the dude is huge. And I'm just like, wow, because I kept talking about, the difference in size. Obviously, Tyson Fury is bigger than all the heavyweight division. But I was thinking Dillian Whyte was going to be bigger face-to-face with Tyson Fury. And Dillian Whyte is naturally a big dude. He's a big, solid, thick dude. But Tyson Fury is just another level of big. He's just a big guy. And keep in mind, Dillian Whyte's wearing a hoodie, a leather jacket, and a hat. And Tyson Fury's wearing a suit. And he's still wider than Dillian Whyte. So it's just like, okay. Now, there could be some reasons for that. Maybe Dillian Whyte didn't want to show off his physique. If he's truly immersed himself in a training camp, maybe he decided, maybe I should be leaner for this fight. Because I know, dealing with Tyson Fury, I know Tyson Fury can take a punch. I know Tyson Fury has the will to win, so that means he can get up off the canvas if I were to put him down. And I know Tyson Fury is more of a long game type of guy, so he might be thinking about the deep waters and the championship rounds. So maybe he showed up a lot leaner. Maybe he doesn't want to show off his physique. He wants to give the impression that he's a lot bigger than what he really is. Or maybe he was just late. That could also be it. But I want to believe that he's been working that hard. And I want to believe that they did have a true strategy. Because honestly, the fight Tyson Fury, you're going to need a true strategy. However, Dillian Whyte also said one thing. He said, I've been working on just being in the moment in a sense where I can switch it up. He's like, Tyson Fury sometimes likes to box, and then sometimes he wants to fight. So I need to be prepared for when he wants to switch it up. And I think that's a smart analysis, because there are going to be moments where Tyson might play with you, or toy around or use his footwork. Dillian Whyte doesn't have great footwork. I mean, we already know what this fight is going to be. It's going to be a lot of Dillian Whyte stalking Tyson Fury. It's going to be a lot of Tyson Fury circling the ring. It's going to be a lot of Tyson Fury jabbing. However, looking at the size of Tyson Fury, now over the years, no, Tyson Fury doesn't have a lot of knockouts, but that's a big dude. He could put Dillian Whyte down. I mean, this is right now at this stage, I feel like both guys, Tyson's size and Dillian's punching power, they can both put each other down. Dillian has been down. If you've been down once, you can go down again. I don't feel like Dillian Whyte has as durable a chin as Tyson Fury. Hands down, I just don't believe he does. When Dillian Whyte goes down, he tends to stay down. When Tyson Fury goes down, he tends to get back up. However, before I go any further, let me explain that. Typically, when Dillian Whyte goes down, he's taking a beating. And it's like later in a round or something like that, and he goes down and he doesn't get back up. So a lot of that is fatigue. So, okay, some of that's fatigue, some of that is the actual punch, and then you have the accumulation of the other rounds in the fight, which would lead to him not getting back up. When Tyson Fury goes down, he's typically winning, and then he gets caught with something. That's pretty much how it happened in the Wilder fights. He was winning and he got caught with something. And it can happen late, it can happen early. But what we do know is that he can rally and get back up. What we do know is he doesn't typically take too much punishment. So in terms of a back and forth fight, this is going to be really interesting, because Dillian Whyte can take a punch, but Dillian Whyte can dish them out. He can dish them out. And Wilder's a finisher. But every time Wilder hit, like really connected on Tyson Fury, he knocked him down. So there wasn't always anything to really capitalize on, because he had to get up, he had to get an 8 count and all that stuff. Tyson Fury, he recovers really well. But I don't think Dillian Whyte hits as hard as Deontay Wilder with a single shot. So what I'm saying or proposing is that if he doesn't hit as hard with a single shot, let's just say he gets Tyson Fury hurt with a shot and momentarily dazes him or rattles him or something, or just, he loses his legs momentarily, turns into noodles. Dillian Whyte could follow it up. That's the one thing that Deontay Wilder never had the opportunity to do with Tyson Fury, is follow up. That's the difference, following up. One shot is not going to put Tyson Fury down. Well, I take that back. One shot is not going to keep Tyson Fury down. It will put him down, but it's not going to keep him down. You're going to have to follow up with those punches. Now, if Dillian Whyte can do that, I can foresee Dillian Whyte winning this fight. And for the people, especially the odds makers, Dillian Whyte has a chance to win this fight. He absolutely has a chance to win this fight. You have to understand, Dillian Whyte is like the biggest dude that Tyson Fury has fought in years. I mean, he fought Otto Wallen, he fought Deontay Wilder 3 times. These guys aren't big guys. They're not big guys. Not in terms of the heavyweight division. They're not the biggest guys. Dillian Whyte's bigger than both of those dudes. Dillian Whyte is bigger than both of those dudes. So, and Dillian Whyte has punching power in both hands, not just one. And he will be throwing both hands, not just one. And that's what's going to separate him, this fight, from Deontay Wilder fight. Deontay Wilder is looking to throw one bomb, one particular bomb that explodes on contact. Dillian Whyte, both of them are bombs. Dillian Whyte knows he doesn't have one punch knockout power. He has knocked people out with one punch, but he's not typically that dude. So he knows, I got to follow this up. He knows that. And that's why he's locked himself away in training camp, because he knows that. He's going to have to follow it up. It's not going to be a thing of, I won that round. The reality is Dillian Whyte is not going to throw more punches than Tyson Fury in the fight. The reality is Dillian Whyte is not going to be stronger in the championship rounds. If you listen very closely to the press conference of what Dillian Whyte was talking about, he was kind of giving away, not necessarily giving away his keys to success, but what he was saying was telling. Number one, he was talking about his cardio and saying he needed to be in shape. That's why he was just locked away and focused on this fight. And then number two, he needed to learn how to be versatile and how to switch it up. And, no, I need to pull back. No, I need to, progress a little bit more. I need to throw a little bit more punches. I need to box a little bit more. I need to get behind my jab again. He's doing those things because he knows who he's fighting. He's not fighting a one-dimensional fighter. So Tyson Fury is not a one-dimensional fighter. He's a great boxer, and he's an okay slugger. He's an okay slugger. More than likely, and Tyson Fury doesn't rely on his slugging abilities. He will stand there and trade with you if he's got no option. He will stand. For the most part, I feel like he'll stand his ground. I do feel like he's a much more accurate puncher than Dillian Whyte, which is another reason why I feel like he could or might think of standing his ground, because he is a lot more accurate. But overall, I feel like this is a very winnable fight for Dillian Whyte. I feel like it's also a very winnable fight for Tyson Fury. I mean, again, he is a superior boxer, and he is much bigger. And quite frankly, it comes down to a mental game. And if you've never lost, why would you think today would be the first time for you to lose? So Tyson's got a lot going for himself, physically, and athletically, and skill-wise, and also mentally. But Dillian Whyte has got a lot going for him too. Yes, he's been knocked down. Yes, he's been knocked out. But he's still here. And that's what he gauges on. I'm still here, and I've survived the worst, and I'm still here. You're talking about an individual who's not had the prettiest of backgrounds. And he's like, well, look, I'm still here. I've faced worse, and I'm still here. That didn't kill me, and I'm still here, and I'm still strong. And look at where I'm about to box. I'm about to box in Wembley Stadium. And he said it himself. He said, I always thought Tyson would box here, but I never thought that I would box here. Again, he's already surpassed his own dreams. So in terms of mentality, I kind of feel like they're kind of even. You have Tyson, who's never lost, so his confidence is riding high. And you have Dillian Whyte, who's saying, listen, I'm not supposed to be here. I'm going to take full advantage of being here because I'm not supposed to be here. I'm not supposed to be here. If you look at his upbringing and his life, you're like, I'm not supposed to be here. And he spoke on that too. He said, things are better in my life, but I still got stuff going on in my life. So you're talking about an individual who's a fighter, not just in the ring, but outside the ring. And he's conditioned himself, not just physically, but mentally, to say, I'll never quit, I'll never give up, and I'll always keep going. And I think that will resonate in the fight. I really do. I truly do. You're talking about a guy who will just keep battling. Regardless if he's winning or losing, he'll just keep battling. So, but then when you add on his physical attributes, again, he is the biggest guy that Tyson Fury has fought in years. That's a plus for Dillian. He is a hard puncher with both hands. That's a plus for Dillian. So overall, I mean, this is a very winnable fight, because you have a guy who's saying, listen, I'm going to show up and I'm going to give my all. I wasn't supposed to be here, so I'm going to make good use of being here. Overall, I was impressed with everything. I was really impressed. Even the little stare down, there was like a little mini, everybody. Listen, it's a heavyweight fight. Everybody wants to get into the stare down. I mean, who doesn't like a good stare down? And, both camps rally behind. And then we see how big Dean Whyte is. That dude is bigger than Tyson Fury. That dude is a mountain Goliath. Like, he's huge. I don't know why he doesn't box professionally. I do know that Dean Whyte trains. I do know that. I think he's older too. But dude is a mountain. But aside from that, everything was great. One more thing. One thing I like about Tyson, that dude never misses an opportunity to make fun of Anthony Joshua. He was saying, like, wow, we're selling out this place. And he's like, you would think that AJ would do it if he wasn't beaten by a middleweight. And sure enough, another jab at AJ. And he just slides those in so confidently. And it's funny because when he said it, Dillian Whyte started laughing about it. Dillian, he just starts laughing because he knows he's telling the truth. We would think it would be Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury fighting. And he's like, look, I'm here. This is supposed to be AJ sitting here, not me. So overall, I was impressed. I guess I need to make a prediction. This is really tough. I don't feel like this is going a distance. I will definitely say that. This is not going a distance. But I do believe sometimes when a fighter says it's going to be his last one, I think somewhere within himself, it's almost like a release. Like, well, if I lose, it's my last one. It's almost like an ease of pressure, because if you weren't going anywhere, you want to win. But if you are going somewhere afterwards, you are riding off into the sunset. Either way, it's like, you know what? I don't need this. Not I don't need this, but this is it. So I'm going to give a good showing, but this is it. So I don't know. I really don't know. I feel like if there's anybody who can mentally say I'm not coming back after this and still put on a stellar performance, I believe it's Tyson Fury. I believe there's two people who can do something like that. I believe it's Floyd Mayweather, and I think it's Tyson Fury, who could say, I'm going away and I'm done, and then put on a masterful performance. I think it's those two, Tyson Fury and Floyd Mayweather. But at the same time, I do think there's something within a fighter when he says this is it. There's a release of I don't care. Not necessarily I don't care, but I'll try my best, as opposed to if he weren't going anywhere, he'd be like, no, I'm going to do it. I'm going to knock him out, or I'm going to win. As opposed to, I'm going to try my best. I'm going to be there. He's going to be there. We're going to see what happens. We're going to mix it up. So it's tough. But prediction. I think Dillian Whyte has all the tools to win. I definitely do. The only reason why I'm going with Dillian Whyte is because Tyson Fury said this is going to be his last one. Keep in mind, it's Tyson Fury. You can take that with a grain of salt. He might be back within a year or so. But one thing definitely changed for me when he said it. He said that he had a conversation with his wife. And the first time, I don't believe there was any conversation with his wife. And he said the last time, the fight with Deontay Wilder, the third fight, was going to be the last one. So, you got to take it with a grain of salt because we're talking about Tyson Fury. But at the same time, I think it's one thing if he said it to himself. I think it's something else if he made an agreement with his wife and his spouse. So for that reason, only for that reason, I feel like what Tyson Fury is way more skilled than Dillian Whyte. But only for that reason, I will say I'm leaning toward Dillian Whyte. I'm leaning towards Dillian Whyte, and I think he has to do it early. This thing goes past 6th round, Dillian Whyte could get cooked, like really cooked. And then it turns into him possibly getting knocked out. But those are my thoughts. Drop your comments down below. You know me, I always want to read what you got to say. Please like, please share, please subscribe to my channel.